You've just tuned in to the greatest podcast in the world right now, today, this second. It's And the Wife with Anastasia.
I was like, I can't read this. I don't want to know. I mean, I want to know, but I can't read this because I'm already in a place where I need to get out of it. Because I'd like to be a functional human being again.
Stop looking at stuff.
I like to want to take showers and brush my hair again.
Don't use your eyes.
I would like to.
I feel like it's just like an ever-present dread.
Yes.
So it's really hard to want to do anything.
Yeah. I feel like we are stuck. Like we went to sleep one night and then we woke up in the worst apocalypse comedy, like a really bad one, where it's like one of those ones from the Sci-Fi Network or something. So it's just like everybody's a complete and total moron and they do moronic things all day long. And I feel like we're inside of that movie. We're like that Idiocracy movie meets like, what's the one with the comet coming to Earth? That one with, who's it's in the tank top guy. What's his name?
Armageddon?
Yes, Armageddon.
And the tank top guy?
He wears tank tops all the time.
Wait, what?
Who wears tank tops all the time?
The guy. Who's the head guy in the movie? The main guy.
The head guy. The head honcho in the movie.
Die Hard?
Yeah, the Die Hard guy.
Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis is the tank top guy.
You mean John McClane?
He's always wearing tank tops.
He is always wearing a tank top. Yeah.
See? He's
well,
the
not
tank top
anymore
guy.
because he's a classy guy now.
Is he? I haven't seen him in 100 years. But anyway.
He was just in Glass.
Oh, was he? He wasn't wearing a tank top in that one?
No,
I
not
don't
even
know.
once.
I don't remember.
But he wore a tank top.
I know
all
that movie ruined every other one of the movies that led up to it by being made.
So you weren't into it.
Glass fucking sucked.
Ooh.
Not Glass. That was the one where they had all of them together.
No.
That was the one.
Glass isn't the one that had them all together.
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
It was the one that had them all together.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it fucking sucked.
Oh, yeah, that one was.
And it ruined every other movie that
You
those
just put it out of
characters
your
were
mind.
from. I wish it. I
They
wish
should have not done that.
Put it out of your memory.
in another dimension where I can go to where that movie was never made. I would like to be in that one. Maybe I can fall through
it
that.
ruined your entire life.
So you're saying that M. Night
My life
dropped the
is
ball.
That he what?
He dropped the ball.
He definitely dropped
That's
the
his
ball.
new name. M. Night dropped the ball.
I like his movies, and I think he does. Even though,
I mean, they can't all be winners.
but Frank,
There's
you
got to
didn't.
be a stinker in there somewhere.
You know,
where they just
he's
kinda
all
did it
over
for
the
the
place
money.
with his movie quality.
Well, I mean, that's everybody.
Yeah, but some people always put out winners.
No.
No.
Look
At the Wachowski siblings. What
about J.J. Abrams?
No.
I don't
No?
know. Has
What's
he put
somebody-
out a stinker?
That
What's
Netflix
something he's made
movie? That Netflix movie with Marky Mark in it? Wasn't that J.J. Abrams? That you watched it? I didn't watch because I told you it looked stupid. And I didn't want to see it. Or was it with the one with Ryan Reynolds? That one was the J.J. Abrams.
I
on
don't think
Netflix.
so. No.
One
That
of them
was
was
like
some
a-
huge director guy. Both of them.
No,
were.
that was like Jerry Bruckheimer. Or
Okay, whatever.
Michael
I
Bay or
hated it.
something.
It was
I don't remember who
both
that
of those
was.
movies. Terrible. Those guys are huge movie directors, but those movies fucking
No,
sucked.
J.J. Abrams is Star Trek, the new
I really
versions,
like the new Star Trek.
and he took over the Star Wars.
Well,
like,
those movies fucking suck.
No. Like the one that he did was good.
Oh,
And
the
all the
only
other
good
ones
one?
suck.
Because the
No,
I
last
thought that
ones-
he did Star Trek.
That's what I just said.
The Star Trek movies.
Yeah, a lot of people
Yeah,
don't like
and
those
then he
either. I
did
really
one
like
of the
them.
Star Wars movies.
Oh. So he's all up in
Like
the stars.
he had to take.
He's
it
all
over.
about the star.
He's all about the stars. He did. Didn't he?
Well, he did
Cloverfield.
Cloverfield. Yeah.
I like Cloverfield a lot, yeah.
And anything that's like the robot.
Didn't he do a different one?
No, the little robot is not J.J. Abrams. The little robot is Rodriguez.
No.
Bad robot.
No.
He did Lost.
Bad Robot is J.J. Abrams. Rodriguez is the little kid.
He was the director of
Oh.
Lost
Oh.
as well.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
What was?
Maybe.
But
Maybe.
no,
he's more
I mean,
successful than. Oh, you know what? You watched that Scorsese, wasn't that? They did that movie that was super long that was on Netflix and you didn't like it. That one.
It was.
Was
It
the
wasn't-
Irishman or
it wasn't
something?
bad.
What was it called?
It wasn't bad. It just wasn't like, oh my God, this needs every fucking award in the world ever, you know? It was okay.
So there's sometimes even some people
wasn't
that
a
are very
stinker,
good
though.
can be okay.
But if it didn't have those guys in it, it would have been a stinker.
Mm-hmm. So if it weren't people that you like and you want to see, you
Yeah,
wouldn't
that's
have
what I'm
watched
saying.
it.
Like if it didn't have Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci and Al Pacino, then it probably would have been a stinker.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was okay. They tried to take something that had like real world ties into it and make this whole other story around it. And, you know, there was some made up shit in there. Mm-hmm. But it was way too long, and it was like it could have been half the amount of time that it was. Because they drug out a bunch of shit. And, you know, they always shoot all this beautiful scenery and all this extra shit. And they left it all in.
You know, I hate the scenery shots.
I don't care about where they
I
are.
don't care about the scenery.
I want my scenery in IRL.
I just want you to
I don't
give
care
me-
about the setting.
I don't care about the
I want to
setting.
take my own pictures of
I
scenery.
just want
Fuck your scenery. I want my scenery.
I just want to see. I want the story to happen. I want the action to happen. I want the arc to happen, and just get me out of there. I don't give a fuck about your trees and your mountains and your city views. I can see a city view anytime. It comes on the fucking.
They're setting the scene.
Screensavers. Blah.
Blah the scene.
Boring.
Fuck
Boring.
your
I don't
landscapes.
care about it. But Daddy fast forwards through stuff in movies that are weird to me.
I fast forward through the shitty sex scenes.
I don't know. I think that's super weird.
It
That's
is.
super weird.
It's
always like
I don't really like to watch it either. I'm like, okay, no one cares. Okay,
Weird,
whatever.
see?
I don't like romance
So I fast forward through the scenery. You guys fast forward through sex, and I think that's
because
super
I
weird.
don't care. I'm just like,
I
I don't
don't-
care if they're together.
Yeah, I don't care about the
because
scenery.
it's never hot. It's just always like
well, if
everybody
you stop
just
fast forwarding,
pretending.
you will find out sometimes
I
it is
give
hot.
it a few seconds. Like I give it a 10,
It's usually not.
maybe even 15 seconds.
And you also fast forward through car chases, don't
Oh
you?
yeah, that's always because I've seen it.
The whole point of the car chase is because they think you'll be excited about it.
It's gonna get your adrenaline pumping.
No,
Like,
I do
ooh, yeah, car chase.
I give it one fast forward click.
That-
I don't do the 3 fast forward clicks.
You like
Where
to
it goes
see
like-
a little bit faster.
Like just
than
in
it
case I see
usually
something.
is.
Like, you know, the car chases in the Gemini Man were good. Remember the Will Smith and versus Will Smith? The one, because he was like throwing motorcycles at people and like.
Which is impossible.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I want to see.
I
I
don't
want
wanna
to
see
see the
impossible
shit that I haven't seen before.
Okay.
Oh
Like-
yeah, it's like some crazy stuff.
Yeah,
But
that's why I
speaking
like
of-
Hobbs and Shaw so much.
That was ridiculous. When
Yeah.
they had those friggin' trucks linked up, I was like, I can't. This is so stupid.
Okay, speaking of action and adventure,
And adventure.
And adventure.
I don't usually like that genre because for the same reason, it's like the stupid stuff that happens, the stuff that's like literally impossible.
Yeah.
But I recently saw what's the movie with the chick?
Oh, yeah?
Sound like mommy
The
now.
chick, huh?
Everybody loves her.
Everybody loves her.
Birds of Prey.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
I heard.
So I just saw that it was very good. I really actually liked the action in that movie because it was all really cool. And like
cool.
probably doable stuff if you were like in really good shape.
They worked hard on their choreo.
Yeah, they were all in very good shape.
I really don't like the choreo.
Like what's her name?
Choreo. Hashtag choreo.
Who's the chick with the J name?
Jaden Smith.
Journey.
Jennifer Beal.
No, Journey Smollett Bell.
Is she in that
What?
She
movie?
was in amazing shape. I was
Yeah.
like, dang, Journey,
Journey
it.
Smollett?
Kick that guy. She had like 4 different fight scenes.
Oh, that's Juicy Smollet's sister.
Yeah. But we like her.
We like her.
But we like her. Do we? They're best friends. They're probably in cahoots.
They're actually siblings, so there's no way to separate them.
It was probably all her idea. She's like, look, Juicy, you need to step your game up. You need to do something to make it so they can't let you go. They feel sorry for you.
But it's not like she's super famous.
She was in
No,
a
she
lot
was
of
she
movies
was in a
when
lot
she
of
was a
stuff.
kid.
Yeah, she was all around all the time.
That's because she is mixed.
Is that why?
People like mixed people.
Do they?
Yeah.
Is that so?
Because they're exotic looking. They're more attractive, I
Is
guess.
that why people like you?
Yeah.
They can't quite tell where you're coming from.
I can't
Yeah.
tell what that is, but I don't.
What is she?
It's like, oh, she has curly hair.
Is she Jewish? Is she black? Is she other?
Could be
Other?
anything. It's other. It's always other.
It's always other.
Whatever you think, it's not that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Whatever you think, it's not that.
Well, she was in True Blood,
Yeah, she was in True Blood.
but she had a small part.
I don't know. She's been an actor since she was a child. She's like Jodie Foster. They've just always been there.
They're just ever present.
Always there.
So when people ask you like what you are, like what do they like? What percentage of people like ease into it, and like how many are just like straight up like, where are you from? What are your parents?
I no longer accept that question.
Uh-oh.
But
I no longer
when
accept
you
that
were
question.
in the mode of acceptance,
Like, I do not recall.
yeah, you lean over and your lawyer whispers in your ear.
Yeah.
And you like take a pause, and then you come back and you like, I plead the fifth.
Yeah, pretty much.
1, 2,
But
3, 4, 5th.
I have
Yeah.
found that
You got all official.
Now you got serious.
I have found.
So it's
I have
like,
found-
Well, I was just speaking to my lawyer.
usually the people who come out with it automatically are the guys who are catcalling me.
okay.
So it'll be like, hey, what you mixed with? Like, why is that your first question?
I was just talking about people in general, not booty calls.
No, it's not a booty call. It's a guy who's on the street catcalling
On the
me.
street?
Yeah.
Some street urchin?
It's just some prevert that I don't know.
Hey, girl, what are you?
Pretty much, yeah. Sometimes the guy will like follow me and be like,
Not talking to you. That's what I am.
Yeah. I'm
Anyway,
like,
so
okay.
Zoe.
And
And what about that one chick who said, remember she's like, welcome to the club or something?
Okay.
What was that all about?
No, she didn't ask me what I was. Like, I think she just assumed that I wasn't black, I guess. But
So what was the conversation? What? Give me the
What?
details.
so I was here back in February.
In Las Vegas?
Yeah, here
Uh-huh.
where we are currently. And we had the Black History Party, of course.
Yes.
And so when I got back to school, one of my classmates, she was talking to me about my weekend and stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, my parents do this Black History Party, and it's pretty fun. And she's like, oh, are you black? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, oh, welcome to the club.
She didn't go like straight to offended, like, why are you Jewish people having a Black History Party?
Why would that be offensive? I think everybody should have a Black History Party.
Yeah, like what's wrong with history?
Black people affect everybody.
So people that I know, like at work or something, they might sometimes ask, but it takes them a little bit. So once they feel like they know me, they'll be like, hey, so what is your ethnicity anyway? Like, what am I, like, she used to be my boss, but now she's just my regular coworker.
Uh-huh. Just a regular coworker.
We're on the same level, I guess.
Oh.
But it's unclear. One time I was hanging out with her at my apartment, and she's like, yeah, what is your ethnicity? She's like, I know you must be mixed race, but like, what is it?
What? Like, what? What girl?
Like-
What? Was she a couple drinks in, or?
Well, she's a pink person, of course.
Uh-huh.
But it's the pink people who are really hesitant about it. Because I think she's, especially her, she's like really sensitive about making sure that she's like not being racist in any way.
Mm-hmm.
Because I guess someone once called her racist and now she does not know what to do with herself.
Yeah, I think pink people do not like that, being called racist.
Who would like that?
I don't think they like it.
No one would like that.
In
some
particular.
do. The ones who know they're racist.
Yeah, the ones who know they
love
are,
that
but I
shit.
think the ones that are not are very offended because they don't feel like they identify with the ones like them who are.
Well, because
So-
here's how I view it: is that like people who are not of color, they have different experiences, of course, so they don't know what it's like for anyone who is of color. So they don't understand what might be offensive.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's just like her experiences with people of color. She just can't even fathom what their lives are like.
Well,
But
I mean,
she
if you
tries.
didn't
Like she really
grow up
tries. Like her
around anybody else.
upbringing is so different from other people's, and she's like has trouble, I think, trying to relate to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? She's
Well-
not racist at all. Like she's trying her best.
No, she's like she's a privileged person who is sympathetic and doesn't understand, but she's not outward trying to be racist. She might say some racist shit not knowing that it's racist, and someone probably called her racist because of it.
Yeah, even the person who called her racist, I think they were just being really sensitive for no reason. Like I think she can be like a little short sometimes, and the person who thought that she was racist thought that that was like a personal attack on them based on their race. But that's not what was really happening. It's a misunderstanding.
So do you feel like brown people just come right out and ask you and they don't finesse it first like pink people do?
Oh yeah, people of color do not finesse anything.
They come right out, it's like,
Just straight up.
what are you supposed to be?
Straight out with it. Because they know. It's like, you're part of my club somehow.
Like, what are you? Are you Mexican?
Are you Latinx?
Latinx.
Back to the Latinx. Every time we talk about these Latinx people. So,
Latinx.
Frank, as an ambiguous race person, how is it for you? What do people say to you? I know you get Italian all the time.
What?
Right?
No, I mean, most people assume I'm white, and then they just do their regular white stuff around me, not knowing, that
you're a secret.
Oh yeah, I get that all the
agent.
time. Where people who actually are offensive will just be offensive around me.
yeah,
because they don't know
they've
that you're.
they've got
that
the
you're-
mental
Like
all
my
clear.
ex's friends.
They got the mental all clear to just let everything rip, and that happened a lot when I was working on like the big projects, and where there's like hundreds of people and like 95% of them were white. They would just be racist around each other all the time.
Well, don't you think everybody's like that when they're in their own grouping? They say racist stuff about
Definitely.
each other.
Yeah,
So then, is it offensive to you, or is it expected to you?
it's expected. It's definitely expected.
Do you ever say anything like, "Look, that is, just stop"?
Well,
do you ever
if
say
I'm-
stop,
if
or
I'm-
do you like?
if I'm just walking in and walking back out, then I'm not gonna be like, hey, there's 35 large, Aryan race guys that are fresh out around me, and I'm
this
gonna be
happens
like,
to you? What kind of parties are you going to?
I didn't say party. I'm talking about job
work
sites.
at job
What kind
sites.
of gatherings are you going to?
Yeah, exactly. It's called work. I'm not gonna like start stating my case in front of them and have like get my ass kicked.
You gotta pick your battles.
Yeah,
I understand.
I'm not as stupid.
Well, like, even one of my past coworkers, she was like a total, go-getter, like, people who try to be really PC.
Who like to punch
Like
the
an
air a
activist.
lot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like a total
Oh.
activist.
Air puncher.
Yeah, an
Yes.
air puncher. And she would always tell us, like, if your tutors are being, like, really ignorant or they're being racist, like, say something to them. But I have to be honest, I don't agree with that at all. I'm like, they don't realize that they're being that way, and they're just being the way they are.
No,
And you don't always, whenever you see something, you don't always have to say something.
Yes and no. I feel like if it's the tutors that you're training, that if they're with children, they're a different race than them. They might say things around those children or to those children that are not appropriate because they don't think it's not. They think it's okay. And so if you tell them gently, hey, that's not really okay, then they'll say, oh, I never even thought about that. That's a big
But
deal.
off to the side.
Yeah, not
while
just
they're-
in
Yeah,
front of
not well,
everybody, 'cause-
but like what I would usually do is like, say for instance, something that was common was like a lot of the tutors would think since the child is Asian, that's why they're shy,
Okay.
which is like, I guess, a stereotype.
Yeah, it's a stereotype.
And usually I would say, I think it's just her personality. It's not because she's Asian.
Yeah.
No.
But you don't have to be all angry about
No.
it. You just be like, okay, well, here's where you might be wrong, but you don't have to make them feel bad about it because they don't know that they're wrong.
Yeah, and that's where it comes into like life experience and life training. It is important to speak up sometimes and say something where like, hey, it's not necessarily what you think is going on to someone who doesn't understand.
See something, say something?
Yeah, but don't like get all extreme about it.
No, I'm not saying get extreme. I'm just saying that, like, for instance, when Sophie was in elementary school and I told you, I always register her for school in the summertime and not before school's out because I'm lackadaisical in that way. Mm-hmm. I live my life the way I want to. So they can't tell me when I have to sign her up. Anyway, every summer, as soon as the office staff would get back from their summer break, they always start like a month before everybody else does. I would go in there to register, and of course, we would all be very, very dark because of the sun from the summer. So we'd be super, super tan, and Sophie would be super, super tan from being in California. And one time, the office lady that I've been seeing since Sophie was in kindergarten, and at this point she was in like 5th grade or 4th grade. She's like, "Wow, you're so dark," and I was like, I don't like it. And I thought about it. And
I don't like it.
I didn't say anything right away. And I pondered it and I thought about it. And I thought about it and I thought about it and I thought about it. And then I went to her because she was a pink person. And I had said to her, I was like, and quietly I was like, can I talk to you really quick? Not in front of the whole entire office or anything. And there was actually no one else in the office that day. I said, a lot of people of color do not like it when you talk about their color. They don't like it, especially if you say they're dark. And so she's like, well, I was like, I know, I'm not saying that you did anything wrong. I just want you to know for the future, because it sometimes will come off as something different from what you mean. Because if you talk about, oh, you're dark, oh, you got a tan, to a person who's like you, you might think, oh, I got a tan, I look great, or something like that. Mm-hmm. But when you say it to some people of color, they feel like you're talking about them in a negative way, that they're darker than you.
Now, did she know you guys? I mean,
I'm not friends with anybody because I don't really talk to people like that. So I told her that because although there's the school, is like 95% pink. And so
here we go.
So that handful of kids, it's for them. I didn't want her to say that to every other kid that had been out in the sun during the summer, and brown people turn browner as soon as the sun sees
browner.
And
like
she would say it to everybody that came in, and there would be somebody who wouldn't be as gentle about it as I was.
She get herself smacked?
Yeah, it would say something, would go talk to the principal. Well, she's talking about my kid's color. And she's talking about my color. How dare she?
Dang.
And so I don't want her to be in a position where it becomes a bigger thing than it needs to be. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, because there just are a lot of misunderstandings. Like, you can kind of tell when someone's purposely being offensive. Sometimes, but people who just lack experience with people of different races, they are gonna make some missteps.
Yeah, all the time,
because they're not in your culture. They don't know what's bad and what's good.
And speaking of cultures,
Here we go.
Whose
so,
culture?
Huh?
Whose culture?
What culture?
Culture.
Bacteria.
Yeah.
Bacteria. We're doing some cultures. So I was asking Sasha's friend if she...
Name them.
Sasha's air quotes friend.
Yeah.
Sasha's
special friend.
Girlfriend?
Sasha's special friend.
Okay.
Sasha's special.
Sound like grandma now.
I don't know what they call each other. I'm not going to put a title on their relationship if she doesn't have a title on it.
Okay, sure.
Sasha's friend that happens to be a girl that she's dating.
Sasha's FWB.
What is that?
Friends with benefits.
Oh. I don't even know what they do. Maybe they just
hang out and she babysits her kids sometimes.
I don't know. Well, I think it's probably her girlfriend.
It's her market friend.
Yeah, I think it's her girlfriend. But I asked her, I said, we've been watching this Tiger King, Lion King, what's his
Tiger Boss. I don't
Tiger
think it's
Boss. He's
Lion
undercover
King.
Tiger Boss.
I'm 99% sure it's not Lion King.
Not Lion King.
Remember on the episode of Saturday Night Live where what's his name? What's the guy's name? where they had the Star Wars episode. Kylo Ren is the undercover boss, and like everybody knew right away.
Yeah,
like that's what happened if the Joe Exotic guy would try to do undercover boss at the Tiger Park.
Adam Driver is very unique. He's like a
that's
giant
why he gets
person.
words. That's why he gets work because
that's why he gets words.
He gets to speak words on camera because he's unique.
I don't think his subordinates ever see him without the mask on and the
no,
voice,
I know
the
she's
voice
talking
box.
about him as an actor. You're talking
Him
about
as a
him
person.
As
He's very
Yeah.
unique. He's a giant person.
Yeah.
He has weird ears.
They don't see his
face.
ears on a normal day-to-day basis because he has the helmet on and the robot voice.
In Star Wars, he always has his hair combed over his ears to make him look more serious.
Not weird.
To make him look less weird.
I don't think he looks weird. I find Adam Driver kind of attractive.
Oh yeah, I think he's attractive, but I don't.
No, because he's so tall. He looks so tall and big.
Yeah, I love a nice tall guy.
Yeah, he's so big,
and he's not like too buff or anything.
Yeah.
Like he definitely works out.
He's just thin. I like him thin, and he seems real weird.
Yeah, he's an attractive body, and he seems accessible. That's what it is too. It's like he's not like super.
You get that?
Yeah, but no.
No, ooh, my word.
But I like that he's so talented. You know,
yes.
When a guy who's like really talented, I'm like, yeah, he's hot.
Okay.
Even if he's not really hot.
He can actually act.
Yeah, he's a really good actor, and he.
Well, I didn't say really good. Slow down. He can act well. He's still,
he seems cool though.
Crafting his art.
He seems chill.
Not quite a master.
But that's not what I'm talking about.
He wears
Let me tell you about
skinny jeans.
Joe Exotic on Undercover Boss.
Tiger Boss King.
It's called Tiger King.
You mean Joe
Exotic. That's what I said.
Joe Passage.
Yeah, Joe Passage Rodriguez or something like that.
What's his name? What's the other one?
He did have a
He had a lot of names.
He had a lot of names. Like,
name.
why is it every time they talk about this guy, he has a different name?
They never addressed it though.
Yeah,
they're like, it's Joe Exotic, and now it's Joe
Passage.
Now it's Joe Passage.
This other thing. I'm like, what is happening on the show? But anyway,
I don't know. I don't get why they never.
Here it is. I got his
that.
full name. Okay. It's Joseph Allen Maldonado Passage.
That's a lot of names.
But he was born Schreibvogel.
Yeah, so that was the name
Schreibvogel.
that they said was his real name, Schreibvogel.
Yeah,
Schreibvogel is his last name, his original last name.
Yeah, but
then he took his husband's last
names
names
to Joseph Allen Maldonado Passage.
Oh, so Maldonado was the first husband, and then Passage was the next husband.
Yeah, his real first name is Joseph Allen Schreibvogel.
Okay. So anyway, I asked her, I said, does it make you embarrassed for your race when you see people like that Tiger guy? Like people who, do you think that they make your race look bad?
Like trash people?
No, just people who
just
have
like
unfortunate lifestyles that are not
that they can't escape from.
They're just okay with.
That most people do not want. No one's like watching that show and saying, "Oh, I want to be this guy." They're like, "Oh, Jesus, what is up with these people?"
Damn, these motherfuckers
people are messes.
Are not only living in like trailers, but everything's broken in there.
They were eating,
they're eating weird old Walmart
trash meat.
The air conditioning didn't work. The plumbing didn't work.
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
Dude.
So she's like, "Yeah," and she's like, "I don't watch stuff like that." And I don't, and people in my family that are like that, I don't associate with.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm glad to know that. I was not aware. Interesting. Because those guys were like, I'm like, okay, so I wonder, because I know it bothers me when I see the Browns like me, who are
the Browns
that are embarrassing.
Like the sports team?
Are they a sports Browns? I don't know.
The Cleveland Browns.
Oh, I don't know the sports. I don't follow the sports. So
nobody's following sports right now.
Frank, you're hurting people's feelings. Let's try to be upbeat.
People who like sports.
People who like sports.
Sorry if you like sports.
If my father was still alive, he would die.
Because
all he did was,
if my father was alive, he would die.
All he did was watch sports 20.
I don't think that makes sense.
If he were alive, he would die.
He can watch esports.
I don't even think he would understand. He can't see a sport. He would watch Little League. He loved sports that much. It was ridiculous.
He had a problem.
He did have a problem with sports. But anyway, Because when I see the browns that are an embarrassment to other browns, I'm like, I don't even want to associate with people
That's
like
why you
that.
don't want to watch The Wire.
That's why I don't want to watch The Wire. No, or anything where anybody's a black person selling drugs or criminals or in gangs or any of that stuff, or using the N-word liberally. Like you make me watch that stupid show.
You don't want to watch Empire either.
Well, they were being real gangster, although they were wealthy gangsters. They were just being gangsters.
Well, anybody that's wealthy is a gangster.
They might be, but I don't want to see brown people doing it. They can do that. And can't they just be, a nice family with money?
Then it wouldn't be a show.
I guess not. But no, I mean, the Cosbys, they were nice and they had money.
It was a comedy, though.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, I don't like to watch stuff like that. And that's why I wonder if other people of other races feel that way about their people being portrayed negatively on television and movies.
I don't think they were being portrayed negatively. Like
they were
just their shit.
They were
fucked
being portrayed as they are.
As
yeah, I know.
Life.
I mean, when I see realistic people, like I don't know, for a minute you were really into watching Cops, and they would show a disproportionate amount of people of color, and they would always be doing some crazy stuff. But they're criminals, and all criminals of all colors do crazy stuff. But I felt like it was so many people of color, and they were showing them in such a poor light that if you had never met a black person, you never known one, and all you've seen is Cops, you think, oh, they're all just these people.
But that's the same with anything. It's like if you meet one dog and it attacked you, you're gonna think all dogs are gonna attack you.
Exactly.
But
so
the thing is that for people who are exposed to all different races, it's like, that most people,
everybody's like that.
Yeah, most people are just doing what they have learned to do from their past, plus whatever they have to do to survive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I was watching an interview that David Spade was interviewing one of the people from the show. I don't remember who it was, but he asked him, he's like, was Joe Exotic like that in real life, or was he just like on for the camera? And he's like, no, dude, he was like that all the time. He was always just that person. He wasn't playing a character during the documentary. He was just always that person. And then I was like, started going back through the different episodes of the show, because it's all like he does it from his house now. And this motherfucker interviewed everybody from the show.
Okay.
Everybody from the show.
Everybody?
Except for Joe Exotic.
Did he interview the guy who stole Joe Exotic's farm from him? I mean,
yes.
Farm?
The zoo?
His farm zoo. He did.
He's farming out, he's growing animals there, so it's like...
Well, I watched a handful of them. When he did the interview with the guy that looks like Carol's first husband, the guy with the real creepy guy that was taking the tigers to Vegas and bringing.
That's the guy I'm talking about.
Yeah, so I'm saying he did an interview.
Saying like I didn't. Okay.
No. Like he was interviewing that guy.
So yes, he did interview the guy I asked about.
Yes, I'm trying to remember what his name was, but it doesn't really matter.
He was the very tan with the white hair on his face. And he stole
Jeff.
Not Farm Zoo.
His name was Jeff something.
Yes.
Yeah. It was him and his very young wife. And they were just boring as fuck. I couldn't watch it because it was just like they couldn't get any, like, it wasn't a real conversation. It was all one-sided because they were just sitting there like fucking idiots, not saying anything. Like they didn't have anything creative to say.
Creative.
Or just like they didn't have anything to add.
They didn't have personalities.
They didn't have anything to add to the conversation. It wasn't a real conversation. Like everybody else he talked to, like the guy who was missing all the teeth. The one who was...
with the meth mouth.
He had meth mouth.
The first husband.
No.
Well, that wasn't his first husband.
I don't know if this was clear, but
died from AIDS.
They were in a throuple.
Where'd that guy come from?
No, they were in a throuple.
No, Daddy said his first husband died from AIDS. Who's this?
He talked about it in the very beginning.
Did he?
Yeah,
no,
he did.
I don't think
so. He did.
Okay.
It was a real short part of the show.
But Joe was married to John Finley and the other guy. No. John Finley's the guy with missing all the teeth.
Yeah,
and the other guy was shot in the head.
Travis or something.
Yeah, Travis. They were all married at the same time.
So what I found out from the interviews,
because thruples are on the rise, they're everywhere. Yeah, on the
rise. Is that none of them were actually ever married.
Okay,
not legally married, because that's what the one guy said. What's his name? John, the
Meth
guy with the
Mouse.
missing teeth, which he has all his teeth fixed now
Uh-huh.
because he's baller. He's balling now.
Is he?
Well,
what?
he has a white.
Now he's accepted that he's straight.
Yeah, he's yeah.
He knew he was always straight. he was always straight. He was just gay for meth.
He was.
He was just gay for
That
meth.
should be like a show called
Gay for meth?
Yeah.
I'm sure it's easy to cast.
It's interesting. I think it's just interesting that he found
easy to cast.
at least two guys.
So on when he interviewed that guy, the John, the meth teeth guy, he's like, okay, so I gotta ask the big question.
Okay, so he said it,
Oh, I guess I got a drink.
and it wasn't me this
I
time.
don't have any ice in mine. So
Too bad.
loud swallow.
Whatever.
All loud.
So how are you feeling this Absolute Vodka Strawberry
I
Juice?
really like it.
I like it too. I think it's
With,
nice. But by itself, it's trying to burn my whole insides.
Don't
but
drink it by itself.
I will
You
never
gotta
do
have
it
the
again.
ice and the Sprite.
But the ice with the Sprite and the Absolute Vodka?
You know,
C'est
what might
magnifique.
make it taste better is if it was Squirt instead of Sprite.
I have some grapefruit. What's that? What's always an Alex?
Pellegrino.
Pellegrinos.
Pa-pa-pa.
So, maybe next time. All
on
right, go ahead. Sorry.
He asked the big question that everybody was wondering. He's like, does Joe sing any of the songs? Because remember, we were like, he sounds really good, but it doesn't sound like his voice.
You said that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it
said
sounded
that.
nothing like him.
I said that, and he's like, no, Joe did not sing any of those songs.
What?
Okay, who was singing in them then?
Just some person he
Another
hired to do the
meth
songs.
for gay for meth.
Yeah, because
probably
that,
another
that just
gay-
wasn't his voice at all.
It wasn't his voice at all. He was just lip syncing to the songs and the videos.
What?
What's the point of that?
This guy has so many layers. This Joe Exotic.
Yeah, exactly.
So many layers.
Exactly.
But I want to like the casting of that chick that looked just like the other tiger chick that he tried to kill.
Yeah, where did he find
Where
her?
did he? Was it her sister? I mean,
Oh,
it
when he
looked
made
like
the
just like her.
I made the music video.
Yeah, that looked just. I was like, this. How did he get her to do that? And I was like, what?
How did he get
Yeah.
him to do that?
She was like to the.
She
like,
looked
the
exactly.
sister.
I don't like. He had to go to where she was born, ask her mother for somebody
Who the
that
daddy?
she gave away or something.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Her
I
long
want
lost
the-
twin.
It's like I know there's a twin that
Where
you
is
gave
she?
away. Where's she at?
And I know Carol killed her.
Oh gosh.
You know, what I saw is that they are reopening the case of Carol's husband's death.
Yeah. So now they.
I mean, because people will not stop.
It's like, can you
ridiculous.
imagine getting away with murder like 20 years ago? And then now it's being reopened?
There's no, they couldn't. There's
they
no
got the
evidence
CSIs
from
and the
20 years ago.
forensics.
There's
They'll
no
find
way.
that shit.
They can't
If
find
they
all
put
those
enough-
lions are probably dead.
If they
And
put
they-
enough
It's
resources
tigers.
Whatever, tigers.
in it, if they put enough resources into it, and people give a shit, you can find out anything.
I don't know. I think. It's
Yeah, haven't you heard
all-
of Reddit?
No, it's yes.
Yeah. Haven't you heard of Reddit?
Okay, well, if Reddit says it, it must be true. So anyway, anyways, after you watch the David Spade trilogy or whatever it was,
It was a bunch of.
Okay,
And
did you find
there's
out how
one
the
that
chick-
came out after?
the chick
yes.
was sitting in the trash, lost her arm.
Yes.
Why was she sitting in a pile of
The-
trash?
first
the
of
entire time?
all,
was she Oscar the Grouch?
That
What
is
was up with that?
trans.
Okay.
I don't know. Started out as a woman. Now is
she's
becoming a man.
she's trans.
Might be a man who became a woman. I don't know. I didn't get that deep. That was on.
Probably
that
a
was
trans
something
man.
I read.
Okay,
somewhere.
go on.
It's something you read somewhere.
So the person's trans.
How did
Okay.
he lose his arm?
How did they lose their arm?
So they got a little too comfortable around one of the tigers
That makes sense.
and reached her arm into the cage.
Their arm.
They person reached their arm into the
person.
cage, and the tiger bit their hand and like forearm off.
Why didn't they say that in the documentary?
Well,
That's all. Of course, that's the only thing you think.
They
when you
did.
See
like,
this.
it must have been a
but-
tiger.
They cut it out
Why would they
Why
cut
would they
that
cut
out?
that part out? We
I
were
don't
all
know.
Such a
wondering.
tasty bit. All I
because
could do was like,
America wanted to know like the whole
America
time.
wants to know. Yes.
what happened to that
Okay,
arm?
what about the other,
And what-
what other
Well,
guy?
let me finish telling you about Saf. Saf is the person's name.
Saf? Okay.
Saf. So Saf was reaching in, got a little too comfortable. Tiger bit the hand like off, and like went into surgery. They tried to put it back together, and it said, "Hey, if you with 2 years of therapy and like all this, we can do all this work and so and so forth. You might be able to get some use of some of the fingers." And Seth was like, "Fuck it, no, cut it off."
What?
So now they don't even use a prosthetic?
Well, now they have the option to use a prosthetic.
But why would they?
Because
sometimes it's better because you don't have as much use of your hand.
Because
it back.
Saf didn't want to spend 2 years of their life trying to rehabilitate a stumpy, couple fingers. That there's like, no, just cut it off.
Staff is hardcore.
Yeah. They should have been
and then
went back to work a week later.
No, well,
what the F?
Yeah,
maybe Staff was gay for meth. Also.
It's Saf.
Saf. Yeah, went back to work a week later, and so
shit, what were they paying, like $100 a week or something?
It was like nothing.
$1.50 a week.
It was
plus all the rotten meat you can eat.
I know, basically. But how did that guy
lose both legs?
Both his legs?
Clown prosthetic legs guy.
That was before.
It had nothing to do with the tigers?
Had nothing to do with the tigers.
People with the tigers all losing their limbs.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to just assume it was the tigers, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Why would they just tell us? They know everybody's like, why does this guy have clown legs?
Did he lose both of his legs to a tiger?
Yeah. Was it 2 tigers? Was it a series
I know,
of
like,
tigers?
Each tiger got
His
one
clown
leg?
legs.
Yeah. Because they had clowns on them.
Clowns were painted on the
Yeah.
legs. He didn't have clown legs.
He did have clown legs.
Like
He
baggy
didn't
clown
have
legs
giant
with
red
giant red
shoes.
Clown legs.
He did have clown legs, but whatever. Okay, so did you? Who else did David Spade speak with? Anything of interest? What you learn? Pray tell.
That was some of the interesting things that I learned, and that the whole thing with Saf getting the arm ripped off by the tiger, it was all completely filmed.
Oh.
They filmed the whole thing.
Wait, they filmed the
Did you
arm
see
being
it?
ripped off?
And Saf said that they watched it like later on. Watched the whole thing. No,
so
they didn't. They
Saf
didn't show
got
it.
to see their arm being ripped off.
Oh no! Oh no! No!
No, because the guy was filming for the.
Yeah, but I thought all
Yeah.
the stuff was destroyed.
I don't remember if
Maybe
they
it was a
said that
documentary.
it was destroyed. Like that part was destroyed, but they saw it. No, I think that part
Would you
was
want to
destroyed.
see a limb of your body being ripped off?
Probably
Some
not.
people are just like they're like, fuck it, let me see it.
They're
They're probably
thinking
juiced
back
up
to
from the meds of getting your arm ripped off.
They're
They're
probably
like,
thinking back to the good old days when they had an arm.
when they had an arm.
Oh,
Remember the good old days 3 days ago
Yeah, pretty much.
when I had an arm?
oh no, honey, no.
Oh, dude. Can you imagine?
No. Okay.
Can
so-
you imagine getting your
and-
arm ripped off by a tiger?
And then
I don't want to do that. No.
Spade was all like, so do they put the cat down? Like, no, they don't put the cat down because it wasn't the cat's fault. They were just doing what they do. You have a piece of meat in your hand or on a stick or
You
whatever.
better pay attention.
You have to, they just got lackadaisical and forgot about the rules of don't have your arm out there when the cats are eating. Because
Okay.
it's just meat to them.
So, what did the people have to say about Joe Exotic? Did they think he was such a douche? Like they made it seem that they did in the documentary made it seem very much like no one liked him. They're like, oh, he was being attacked in the cage by the tigers and nobody helped him. And
just
when he was
filming.
in court, nobody was there on his side. It's like nobody likes him.
I think by the time they got to that part, everybody was just like over the whole situation. Because at that point they probably weren't getting paid, and they were probably losing their huts that they were living in, and there was a big turnaround because he just hired a bunch of criminals that he could exploit. So it was just like not a big deal. And I think Saf said the most, had the most information to say, like, it was like everybody looked up to Joe because he was their savior. He was the boss. He was like their god, their mommy, their daddy, their, the person they looked up to because they were saving their lives basically. And he was giving everybody meth.
So how is that saving their lives?
Like drugs, like everything that they wanted, and like because they were shit before. They were all these people were living on the street, you know, giving hand jobs or crack, and now they had someplace.
Now they got to.
Now they have someplace to live, a warm, a dry place to live, you know.
Well, they got a place to live, they got a job, and they still got their drugs.
Yeah, exactly. Like they probably didn't have to pay extra for the drugs. It was probably like a little drug party every night.
It's the way to keep them there if you keep them on drugs.
Yeah, you keep them there, like you keep them suckling on the teat. You know.
So it seemed like the guy, the husband in the throuple that shot himself in the head because he thinks it's a goof. His mom seemed like she was definitely on the methamphetamine also.
That's what I was saying
Sure
about
was.
that area, man. It's just they lived in a shitty.
And that funeral was the craziest.
Oh, dude.
That.
Yeah, there's always making faces over there.
What?
Like, what was that about?
That was insanity.
Like he made it all about him.
Real?
He made it all about him.
What's happening? Golden balls? What?
Oh, dude! I forgot about that.
What is
He's
happening?
like, he used to put those balls on my face, and
no one wants to know
this
that.
This is
Joe.
a funeral. What is happening? And then he starts singing, and the mom is clapping along. Like, what is happening?
That should have been the giveaway. That like it wasn't him singing on those music videos.
I know.
Because he still had that Carol fucking Baskin.
So was Carol Baskin on the Davey Spade show?
No, I don't think she's gonna be doing that.
I think that she wants to distance herself from that stuff.
From the whole thing.
Especially since they're coming after her for murder now.
Yeah.
Well,
because she was on this stupid
I don't
documentary.
think she likes how she was portrayed.
And he never he kept asking everybody like wasn't she just doing the same thing that you guys were?
Yes.
And she was exploiting.
Yeah.
And you know she was still buying all of the tigers and lions and they said that she only had like a couple big cats, but the rest of them were just small, like the what do you call those the
smaller cats,
barely bigger than a regular house cat.
Like a serval?
Like a serval. Like most of them were that size. But the only thing that's legally different that makes it so she can call it a rescue is that she doesn't do the whole like petting the baby tigers.
As long as you can't touch them, then it's a rescue?
You can go look at them,
As long as you don't have like that whole... they kept using a phrase like, baby petting.
Like cub petting.
Yeah, as long as you don't have the cub petting, then you can consider it a sanctuary, and people can pay their $40 to get in. And
well, plus she was already filthy rich.
Yeah. Well, and nobody ever corrected that thing. They would always say, "Oh yeah, she was exactly the same." Yeah, she was still exploiting and doing all of that, but she kept her business under the premise, and she would get donations. And because she was a real charity at that point. So she would get all this money, thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars from like celebrities or whoever. It would just pour their money into there because they would write it off. And because she would be considered a charity. And then as long as she made it so people couldn't pet the cubs, then she can just keep running that business. What she still does.
Did they talk to the guy who's was supposedly euthanizing the little baby cubs after the petting?
No, but they did talk to him. They didn't talk to him, but they talked to like the manager guy.
The other guy who's supposed to be working on the new zoo with the criminal guy.
No, they didn't talk to him. Well, it's only been like a week, so he's talking to someone like every other day. So it's still continuing. Like they did. He just talked to the guy who was actually doing the documentary, like either today or yesterday. I haven't watched it yet. Oh. But he did ask a guy like, "Hey, the dude did get in trouble for that. Like, was he actually doing it?" And he's like, "Yeah, he was." Like, as soon as the cubs get like 4 months old, then they're useless, and he would just like gas them and incinerate them.
Jesus.
Because they start biting, and like you'll get stitches if those things bite you because they're so big at that point.
Well, he's the one that had all like the hot chicks with the clothes, little outfits.
And they changed their
they all legally changed their names to some weird stuff.
Oh, that's right. I forgot
all
about
those people
that.
were like so far out. Like, I don't know how all of them could be on some other planet.
Like
they
all in
were.
different ways, too.
Yeah.
Like the guy that was on the jet ski.
Yeah, that guy.
But that guy, his name's Doc. But his name that he changes, he probably changes the name to this legally.
You don't think his
name
real
is
name is
Bhagavan.
Doc Bhagavan?
No, his name, he spelled it too. It's Bhagavan Antle.
Yeah.
What?
That was his name.
Yeah, that was
The
his
one
name.
who changed all the ladies' names
Yeah.
to different kinds
I
of...
need to know his backstory though. They never got into it.
Well, they said he was one of the smarter ones. Like he was a real businessman and he was actually smart, so he would hide all of his shit. But then for some reason, the red-haired guy that was on the jet ski, this motherfucker knew everything about everybody.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason why he's not in jail. Because he kept saying, "Oh, well, they caught me with an illegal bird or like something. So they did come after me too." He's like the guy that gets arrested with everybody else, and then the next day he's out.
Because he's a snitch.
Yeah,
He likes
he's the one. That's what everybody was saying. Like he's
Snitchy
the one
McSnitcherton.
who was just snitched on everybody because they got a lot more on him. Like somebody knew a lot more, or they caught him with his pants down, doing a gang of illegal shit, and he just started singing on everybody. That's why he's on that jet ski at the end. Like, oh yeah, I'm out. Oh, you motherfuckers are in trouble.
Yeah, that Joe Exotic couldn't keep up with his hair regimen.
His mullet.
Yeah, and then
His
when
hair
you see
isn't
him,
bleach blonde anymore.
when you see him on like the video chats, he's doing like the mom, where it's just like his eyes up.
Well, he
Like
doesn't
somebody's grandma.
get technology. He's an older guy.
He doesn't understand technology. He doesn't know how to
Probably
get
never
his whole-
used Zoom
Yeah, it's
before.
like my mother, when I'm FaceTiming her, she just slowly disappears. She just like floats away.
That was him.
I can't see you anymore. Where are you going? And that whole like can't keep up with your image thing makes me think about all these chicks now and men who are used to be on television, having other people do their makeup and dress them and all kinds of stuff, and how they have to figure out how to do it themselves at home.
Wasn't
now.
Nene Leakes just saying
Yeah,
that
she's
the
like,
other day?
she's like, I don't know how to put my own makeup on. And I did some tutorials, people beginning
On YouTube?
makeup.
There's plenty of those.
Beginning makeup tutorials so she could put her own makeup on, because she doesn't do that. And this other chick I saw her saying how she's going to dye her own hair because she needed to. And it's like, they have to learn. Like, I'm sure all these people now have to clean their own houses. God forbid.
What?
God,
What?
Can you have to clean or take care of your own kids?
What a nightmare.
Oh no.
But there are a lot of people like, they can't get their eyebrows done.
Yeah.
And like
Well,
a lot of guys in the world can't
Get haircuts.
They can't get haircuts.
Well, if you're wealthy enough to have a living, and that's like she doesn't actually live anywhere else.
Yeah, I know. I saw Martha Stewart. I was telling Zoe earlier. Martha Stewart was on Seth Meyers' show last night or a couple nights ago or something. And the person who was recording her from home was one of her servants. And she had 3 that she said they're living there during this time and stuff. And she's like, oh, she just left. I'm thinking about maybe letting them go home. Or something. I'm like,
Whoa.
she's not letting these people go because she needs them
Go
to take
where?
care of her.
Like to be with their family.
Carol fucking Baskin.